Well, Steve, the new season is just around the corner. How are you feeling now heading into it?
Well, I'm like everybody else, that there's always something about the start of a new season. Whatever's gone on in the past, there is an excitement, of course, from everybody concerned, from supporters to players to everybody, really. So looking forward to it, looking forward to the challenge. We've had a decent pre-season. To be fair, it could have gone better in terms of injuries. We've had 1 or 2 injuries, which is disappointing, especially the one to Jack. That's always disappointing. But look, it's part and parcel of football, I suppose. But we're without Kodjia and we're without Jedinak still, and the loss of Jack is a big blow to us.
We're still in the transfer window, so I'm sure there'll still be some incomings and outgoings. But as you sit here now, how happy are you with the squad?
Well, I'm delighted at what we've done. Look, I've tried to tell the supporters through different media outlets that, we are on the cusp of financial fair play. We have to adhere to that, otherwise we all know the punishments and the penalties. So in that respect, then we've had to box a little bit clever. And I'm on no doubt that there's still a few people who will probably leave the football club. And there might be 1 or 2 even that we might just have to sell to get what we want in. So, it's still a long way to go. I think it's just hotted up in the last 3-4 weeks. June was non-existent. I think now teams are preparing for the season and there's still a bit to do. So I wouldn't think there'll be a big influx in, but we're still working on 1 or 2 little things.
I'm sure fans and media kind of know you're big players, but has anyone surprised you positively over the pre-season that you maybe didn't have in your head?
The young ones, and the young ones particularly have done very, very well. Jake Hayes has done very, very well, a young 18-year-old we've got. Callum Maher has done very, very well. Keenan Davis burst onto the scene last year, and of course Greeny has featured prominently in all the pre-season. So all of them are putting down the challenge to the dressing room, and there's nothing better than a bit of youthful exuberance to keep everybody on their toes. And I've been delighted. I've been delighted with the contribution of the young players, especially in pre-season.
I was going to ask you individually about those 2 guys. Doyle Hayes, what do you like about him as a footballer?
Well, he's a very, very decent midfield player. He's got all the attributes we've got to wait for him to grow physically, but he's got a wonderful appetite for the game. He's got all the ingredients you need to run up and down the pitch. He handles the ball very, very well. He's tough. He tackles well. He's a very, very decent midfield player. So Jake Hayes has been one where we've been extremely pleased with.
And Callum's a little bit older and has been known amongst the academy for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
What do you like about him?
Well, you only have to watch him for 10 minutes and realise his energy and his exuberance to play. It looks, when you talk about body language, he looks as if he enjoys the game of football that he's never going to play again. His infectious enthusiasm is there for everybody to see. We've been very, very pleased with him. On a couple of occasions he's played in the first team, played wonderfully well out in Germany in the tournament. So he's been very, very good, but it's his infectious enthusiasm and he's willing to work, and of course he handles the ball particularly well too.
Will they be in and out of the squad, or will they?
Well, I think with all young players, it's not very often you can get a young player and say they're going to go and do 40 games a season. So we'll have to box a bit clever. The good thing for me, it creates a competition, especially to the first team members. And that's when we're talking about the top of the interview, about ins and outs. That's why I expect 2 or 3 to leave the building, because we have got these young players and it's important that they find their way through. It's pointless having an academy if we're not going to encourage the young ones to try and break through. And over the years, this club has done it successfully. And it's my remit to make sure that we keep them standards.
You mentioned a little bit earlier in the interview about Grealish, Kodjia and Jedinak. Could you just give us an update on those?
Well, Kodjia is, as we know, had an operation, had a pin inserted in his ankle. He's a little bit sore. We expect him to be back hopefully in the next 3-4 weeks. Mile could be a couple of weeks. We hope that's going to be the case. Jack, as we speak, is still in hospital from the injury sustained on Saturday. I think that tells you the nature of how serious it is. I can't see Jack playing for at least 3 months. There's going to be no contact at all. He's not going to be able to raise his heart rate for a good 6-8 weeks. So we wish him a speedy recovery. He's not well at the minute. And the downside of football is we do get injured. And unfortunately for Jack, he's picked up a nasty injury. And let's hope we wish him all a speedy recovery.
The other one I forgot to mention was Sam Johnston, because he missed the Watford game. Yeah. Is he looking okay? Yeah,
he's got a big training session today and tomorrow. And we'll see how he is then. But he trained yesterday and there was no after effects, so I expect him to be okay.
Onto the game itself, absolutely typical that it would be Hull City. Where were you when you saw the results come through, and what was you thinking when you saw it?
Well, as you know, I've had a place in Portugal for a long, long time, and when the fixtures came out, I thought, it's sod's law. Sod's law that live on the telly, first game of the season has to be Hull. And I've regurgitated a lot. I left a year ago last week. So I think a lot's been said about what's happened, and I was disappointed in the finish, but look, I had 4 great years there, and they've still got some good players. So we're in for a tough game. That I can guarantee all of us. We're in for a tough game. They've still got some very, very decent players, and the one thing they want to do is turn me over. So we have to be ready for that, and I expect that. And a mouth-watering one to start with.
You've been in football a long time as both player and manager. Do you still get that adrenaline rush on the opening day?
I think if you don't, it's time to move off. Just had a mate of mine who packed it in the summer. He's away to Hawaii because he lost that little bit of enthusiasm, what you need, and that little bit of butterflies. It's upon us. Last year was the first time in 40 years, I think, I wasn't involved on a start of a season and found it so strange. So looking forward to it again, yes. Excited by the challenge ahead. I don't think it replicates playing, I have to say, management, but still, once you think you lose that enthusiasm for it, then I think it's time that you moved on.
And very finally, Steve Bruce, around a match day the night before, do you sleep well? Or are you thinking about personnel, formations?
Well, I think always on a Friday you think, have we prepared well? Are they good enough physically conditioned? Have I picked the right team? And all of them things were through your mind. I've been doing it a long, long time now. And the one thing we have to guarantee now is preparation. The preparation of all pre-season is geared towards the first game. Could we have done any more? No. Are they in good physical condition? Yes. Are you pleased with what they've done? Yes. Are you pleased with the acquisitions we've got in? Yes. We just need a result now and get us off and running. We need a good start, a decent start. We didn't last year. And the consequences is, of course, the club ends in chaos again. So I'm aware of exactly what we need to do. We're all geared towards that. Let's hope it's a good start.